Alright, what's good everybody? In this video I'm going to be showing you how easy it is to get really good at painting portraits. So I'm going to break everything down. I have a few steps over here that are very easy for you to follow. So if you're a beginner, then this is the place for you. So just to show you just like a little outline of what we're going to be going over today, this is it. So also another thing I'd recommend is for you to check the description out, get the 7-step guide on how to paint portraits. Follow that while you're watching this video to get the most out of it, because that is how you're going to be able to like visualize and implement these things when you're not watching these videos. So you're going to be able to know what to do when you want to create your own portraits. So when you're like painting your mom or your girlfriend, then you're going to be really good and you're really going to know what to do, and then they're going to be like, damn, like how'd you get so good? So little do they know that your boy taught you. So like you could thank me later. But to get started, first thing that you want to do, this is for oil paints by the way, so I think that oil paints are really good, and especially if you're a beginner too, oil paints are the best thing for you to get really good at, because it's the thing that all the professionals use whenever they're painting. So when you go to like the museum or whatever, then most of the paintings that you see over there are oil paints, and the reason why they're so good is because it has a really rich look to it and is very smooth. So that is what I'm using in this portrait right here. So I decided to paint Marilyn Monroe, just a classic, and I'm going to be showing you step number 1 right here. So this is the underpainting, this is the trace. So for the underpainting, is just going to be very simple. Okay, let me type this out and let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see. Okay, so the underpainting, the color that I use for my underpainting is burnt sienna, and it's the color that I use every single time. I use this color because it's very easy to layer on top of, because like as you go on, you see that it's not really going to stand out as much and it's blending into the skin. So if I were to use a color such as like green or blue or a dark color, then you're going to see it after I layer on top of that, and that's not what you want. You want this stuff to blend seamlessly, and the underpainting is supposed to be almost invisible when you're layering on top of it. So that's what I use right here. And for my lines, I just use like very geometric shapes, and I'm going to show you a little trick on how you can get really good at creating your proportions. So when I use my pen right here, the first thing I always start off with is the forehead. So I just create a little line. Let me make this a little bit thicker for you guys. Yeah, so I create a line right here around her head, around her forehead. I map that out first. You see that is exactly what I did right here. And I have a line that goes across both of her eyes, because her eyes are going to be level. It's not going to be slanted or diagonal or whatever. You want your proportions to be straight. So in the middle, that's where I have the nose. I just mapped out the length of the nose exactly right here. I just mapped out how long it will be, and then from there it was easy for me to create my proportions from that. So after you create that little line, I just mapped out where the nose is going to go in. Just create a nice little triangle over there, and you're able to also move on to where the eyebrows are right here. It's like a triangle-ish shape. So her shape is very symmetrical, so it's very easy for you to map all this out, and you also get the cheekbones, and you move on to the lips, everything. So that is what I did for my underpainting. And if you want me to get more in depth on underpaintings, then I do have a video that you can watch. It's very helpful for you if you're struggling with your proportions. Go check out that video, but first finish this one so you know what to do. But if you need like extra help. But after I finished my underpainting, then I got to this phase right here. So now what we're going to be working on is all of the shadows. So I'm going to look back at this photo right here, and I'm going to almost squint my eyes, and I'm going to be looking for where all of the darkest areas are on her face. So a very easy area to start off with is the eyes. So this right here is the darkest area, along with the eyebrows and these little shadows right here, and also underneath her chin. So I just used my underpainting that I already had, and I just started putting in all of those areas that are very dark. But on this photo, there's not really too many shadows, but you want to map out everything that you have. All right, and once you're done with that step, then it should be looking a little bit like this. And also, if you're wondering for what type of brush you should use, or the type of brush that I used a pretty small brush because my area wasn't that large in my sketchbook. Let me find out where this brush is. It's hiding from me now because I'm making this video. Yeah, right here. I used this brush right here. Hopefully it's in focus. It's just a square brush. I don't really think it matters if it's a round brush or a square brush because you're going to be blending everything together. So it's not really going to show that much whether if you use the square brush or a round brush. So yeah, that is what I did, and I just mapped out where all the dark areas are. But I didn't fill out the eyes yet. I used that, I filled them out in a later stage. So don't worry about that. Just worry about where all the main shadows are on her face. So now we're starting off with the skin tones. So for the darkest skin tones, going back to her face, let me erase this so we can have a clean canvas to work on. So now we're looking for where all of the darkest areas are on her face. So this is on her cheekbones, surrounding this area right here, like around her eyes, her other cheekbones, underneath her nose, like around her nose too, this area. Just look for where all of the darkest areas are. And when you're done with that, it should look a little bit like this. Like how I said, around her cheekbones, that's where the darkest areas are. Around her nose, this brow ridge, all these areas, just fill all those areas out. And the colors that I mixed to get this dark tan color was burnt umber and white. I just mixed the two together on my palette, and I used a like pretty small amount because I'm not covering up a huge surface area. I'm just getting these areas that really matter. It's like very small areas, and then I'm gonna add on top of that later on. So yeah, once you're done with that step, then you're done with step 1, 2, and 3. And now we're gonna get to the full bulk of the painting. So pay attention over here. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and this is where some people have a little bit of problems when it comes to painting. So now we're gonna be creating our transitions from our darks all the way to our lights. So let me find a good way to show you guys exactly how I got my result. So okay, so look right here. So you see all these areas that we created with our darkest colors. So now when you're done with that, you're gonna have white spots, and all of these white spots around here, now we need to fill them out. But how are we going to be filling all of this out? So we're going to have to use a range of different colors for it to be as smooth as possible. So first of all, we're going to take it one step lighter from the darkest color. So what I used is burnt umber mixed with white, and I mixed some burnt sienna in there and added some magenta to give it a little bit of a pinkish tone. So the burnt umber and white, that's what we used before. All right, so you could already use that base that you already made if you have it on your palette still. So now we're going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to give the tone a little bit more warmth, because you see right here, this color is not really that warm. It's kind of cool, but we want that because it's a shadow. But now that we're moving on to like the actual skin tones, we want it to be a little bit more warm and give it some more life. So that is why I added the burnt sienna to this color that I mixed. So it's going to give it some more warmth. And now the magenta is going to give it that pink flesh tone that we see in her face right here. You see right here is like a pinkish flesh tone. That's exactly what we use magenta for. I'm only mixing like a small amount because the magenta a little bit goes a really long way. So now that I mix all of that, I put it right next to where all of my darkest shadows were, and I blended them together. I used a clean brush and just used like small little strokes to make it like a clean transition from the dark to the light. It's like a fade. Like if you painted a fade before, that's exactly what you're gonna do right here. And we're not fading it all the way. We're still gonna leave these little white spots right here because we're gonna use an even lighter color for that. But for all of these main areas that I painted right here that are bordering the darkest colors, I used that mix of colors. The burnt sienna, the burnt umber, the magenta, and some white. That's exactly what I use for all of this right here. So now if you're following, then you should be at a stage that looks like this. So you should be at this stage and you should be ready to move on to the next one. And the next one, we're just filling out all of those white spots that we left out with white right here from my palette. So I just put the white in those empty spots and I blended it together. I did the same thing that I did before, like with the blending between the darks and the midtones. I did that same blending with the midtones and the whites. So it's basically just putting white right there, and you want to make sure that your paint is still wet while you're doing this so it's not fully dry. So yeah, that's exactly what I did. I filled out all of the whites, and also on this stage too, I finished the lips, and the lips I just mixed a little bit of red with this white that I had before, so it came out as a pink, and I just filled out the lips. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I added some highlights for this little shine that she has on her lipstick. Yeah, so just added some white right here, and yeah, it's not too hard. So now you are at this stage, okay? And also, yeah, I almost forgot, I filled out this eye with the burnt umber. So yeah, okay, so now you want to let this dry, and then you're going to move on to the next final stage right here. So for this next final stage, you're going to be just darkening up all these areas that the burnt umber was. You're going to be putting the black and darkening up everything so it's like finished. And also her eyes are blue, so I just made a little bit of a mix of ultramarine blue with the white, so I got this light like sea blue, and I used that for her eyes right here, and I add like a little bit of a shine on her pupil. So yeah, that's it. And I made the blonde hair with some not burnt umber. I made the blonde hair with yellow ochre mixed with some white, and I just put that over here. Like, I didn't finish the full entire hair because I wanted to focus mainly on the face and the structure, and like getting all of those like features right. So yeah, and yeah, when you're done with that, then you're pretty much good. So you might have been wondering too, like, how come I don't use the black from the beginning? So the reason why I don't like to use black from these beginning stages and I start off with this burnt umber is because black is a very strong color, and it's very easy for you to mess it up and smear, because we're going to use a lot of lighter colors surrounding this black right here. This burnt umber, you see. So if I were to use black instead of this burnt umber, if I ever messed up and got like a smear of black like around her cheeks or like her chin or her forehead right here, that's gonna be very hard for me to clean up. But if I use the burnt umber, it's easier for me to clean it up than if it was black. So I've learned from my personal experience, I've messed up a lot of times and gotten like a lot of smears, because sometimes like mistakes happen and then the brush sort of slips off and then you get something in a place that's not supposed to be. So just to like lighten up your load and like save you some stress, start off with your burnt umber, and then you can eventually add on with your blacks at the end of the painting. So it's really not that hard, and yeah, that's all you have to do, is not too much to it. So the way how I even learned this method that I'm showing you right now is because I've experimented so much. There was even a period where I painted portraits every single day for 30 days straight, and I was trying to figure out like the most efficient way and fastest way to do it. Now I'm able to create these things in about like an hour, 30 minutes. This one right here took me like an hour and 15 minutes to finish, from all the way from the beginning, like no underpainting, all the way to this finished stage right here. So that's literally what I'm telling you right now. Follow this stuff over and over and over again, reiterate, keep on practicing, and you're gonna become a human printer. That is my exact goal for you. So yeah, that's how you do it, and that's pretty much it. So again, I want to invite you to check out that 7-step guide on how to paint portraits in the description, and over there you're going to get access to my emailing list, and from my emailing list you're going to get access to me, because I'm going to be launching coaching, helping you out with your portrait painting, because I want you all to get really good. And I find a lot of fulfillment in this stuff right here, and I feel like when you're proud of the work that you make, then it just makes painting that much more fun, and you're able to like show this off, and this is a cool talent to have. So just check that out, and I feel like there's a lot more value that's going to be gained from these videos when you have that as well. So now just get to painting and enjoy, like have fun, experiment, make some new stuff, like step out the boundaries. And yeah, so thank you all for watching this video, and if you want to learn how to get good at painting underpaintings, then check out the video on the screen right now, and I'll see you all over there.